drinking wouldn't have allowed me to explore this other area of me and kind of was keeping me at this level. Like drinking, when you're drinking a lot, never elevates you. It never progresses you forward. All it does is just keep you here. Keeps you here. You know, you never have heard anybody ever say that I am really glad I started drinking again. Nobody's ever said that because there's no reason to be glad if you've stopped and you've seen the positive aspects that drinking has made towards your life being improved in every way, shape, or form. It's like there's no reason to look back, and that's where I'm sitting right now. I'm really not even like, oh, I'm 100 days sober. I hope I can make it 100 more. I'm almost like drinking isn't even a thing for me anymore. I don't drink, and life has gotten so much better without drinking in every way. So I know a lot of people hit me up on Twitter about being sober. I know a lot of people always ask me questions about it. So I've been thinking about this for a long time. I want to form a place where people can get together and talk about issues with addiction. It doesn't have to be limited to alcohol. It can be any other addiction. I know there's every addiction out there. And even if you're having a hard time in life with depression, if you're having a hard time in life with your family, with work, anything, I know that everybody needs somebody to talk to, and not everybody has somebody to talk to. So I'm going to use Ruin Your Day as a platform for that. Every week on Wednesdays, I haven't decided a time yet, probably around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to have Ruin Your Day live for an hour. And basically what's going to be happening is the chat is going to be live, and that's going to be used as the floor for everybody to talk. I might be on a video feed answering questions to the chat. I might pull up some music that Ruin Your Day made to play. I might play some video in the background. It's going to be sort of a free-form vehicle type of feed. There's not going to be really a set thing that we're doing. The only thing that I want to go on is I want people to feel like it's a safe place to come into and talk and vent, talk to other people, maybe give advice. I'll be in there if anybody wants to ask any questions about being sober. I can give whatever advice I can for that. And yeah, essentially, I just think there needs to be a place like that. I think AA works really well for a lot of people because it's a community. It's a strong-knit community. You have a sponsor that holds you accountable for not drinking. You have other people that are going through the same thing as you. You realize there's a whole world out there of people that just don't drink. And that's rare these days, honestly. So I want there to be a place like that on Ruin Your Day doesn't have to be just limited to alcohol. It could be anything. You know, like my parents went through some heart problems this year, and that really devastated me. So, you know, I needed somebody to talk to about that. My ex-girlfriend's dog that I really love got cancer. My close friend just had cancer. So it's been tough for me as well this year, and I'm really thankful that I've had Ruin Your Day to talk to you guys about battle rap and forget about the troubles in my life, but I want to give back, and I want to create a platform where we can all come together and sort of be each other's shoulder to lean on every now and then. So just wanted to make this video to talk about me getting sober, my experience with it. Honestly, to wrap this up, being sober is like probably the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Me breaking up with my ex-girlfriend that I love to this day has been the best thing that's ever happened to me too as well. It's really like jump-started me to make big improvements in my life that I'm really proud of. And yeah, I mean, I think anybody out there that's struggling with addiction, the first question you need to ask for yourself, if you're thinking that you might have a drug problem, alcohol problem, any sort of problem, is if I'm asking myself if I have a problem, I might have a problem. Do you want to take the next step to solving it? Do you want to get clean? Do you want to get sober? And all I can say is being sober is amazing. It's great. I would never trade it for anything. It works really well for me. Other people can drink responsibly. I'm not one of those people. I can't drink responsibly at all. So, yeah, guys, I just want to thank you all for helping me through my year of sobriety. You guys really made a huge difference in my life. I want to thank everybody out there that supported Ruin Your Day, all the patrons, all the people that did a watch episode, all the guests, all the people that tuned in for watch, everybody that bought merch, everybody that bought music. It means the world to me. So thank you guys. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ruin an Hour, a safe place to talk about anything from sobriety, addiction, depression, anxiety, balance in life. My name is Kyle Gray. We're live twice a week, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. How's everybody doing out there? Hope everybody's good, safe. I've been saying this saying at the beginning of every live, and I just now noticed that I've been saying it in like kind of broken English. I've been saying, I hope everybody's staying inside, going outside unless you have to, which makes no sense. I should be saying, I hope everybody's staying inside and only going outside if they have to. That makes more sense. I'm not very good at the English language, and that brings us to the topic today. We are going to talk about expectations. And if you guys want to talk, we could do some Q&A first and then get into this topic later. Or we could just go straight into it. Ryan, what's up? I lost a girlfriend that I still very much love from some bad choices I made when I was younger. This intro always touches the heartstrings. Ryan, I mean, I'm in the same boat, man. I lost a really important relationship myself to some absolutely horrible addictions and bad choices that I've had throughout my whole life. So, in the same boat, man. That it doesn't get easier, and the pain only makes you stronger. I found, I can only speak for myself, but I found in my case that pain, that heartbreak made me 10 times the person I was in the relationship, actually, and I came out of it a lot more fulfilled and a bigger person and ultimately a bigger man. And that's something that we can talk about today, actually. So, Assad. Love you too. All right, let's get into this. This is kind of weird how I set this up, so you got to forgive me. This is going to be a new format. All right, so we got that. All right, cool. I got to pull these up so I can actually read them with my beady little eyes. All right, let's go. Anxiety. All right, here we go. Tell me when to go. All right. Boom. Check. All right, cool. We're in business. Let's go. All right, so actually, I'll put it back over on here for a second. Double me. That's right. All right, so I just want to talk about this book really fast. This is where I got the idea from. So, as you guys may or may not know, I'm super into reading now. I love just to start the day with a book that's more based on self-help, self-motivation, and I like to end the day with fiction now. Currently, I'm reading the Southern Reach trilogy. If you guys saw that Annihilation movie that came out maybe like a year, 2, 3 years ago with Natalie Portman, that movie is based on the first book in that trilogy, and the books are vastly different than the movie. Really, really good. I wouldn't really call it science fiction; it's more science horror, but so that's really fun. That satisfies my hobbyist reading. And then I start off the day with just some like self-help books and something to get me motivated. That's like the first thing I do when I wake up, brush my teeth, then I get into some reading. I read maybe 5 pages, really small. Jordan Smith from Kevin Gardner. Appreciate it, my man. So I don't read a lot in the morning. I just read, something to kind of get my juices flowing. But I fucking love this book. This book is called 101 Essays That Would Change the Way You Think by Brianna Wiest. It's incredible. It's like an absolutely incredible book. It's like every chapter is super short. Like these are the chapters' names. Subconscious behaviors that are keeping you from having the life you want. The psychology of daily routine. 10 things emotionally intelligent people do not do. How the people we once loved become strangers again. That hit hard. 16 signs of a socially intelligent person. There's just tons of awesome stuff in here, and it's a great way to start your day to get some good food thought food, and just brain food, and just feed off this for the rest of your day. It really gets me in a good place, on a good path. But that brings us to the topic of today, which is expectations. Expectations are something that are extremely difficult to manage because naturally we all have them. We all expect something after anything, after any action. There is a reaction, and we attribute that to everything in life, even though it doesn't really work out one-to-one in everything in life. We're taught if we get good grades, go to college, marry somebody, have kids, buy a house, that's life. And to most people, that's not life. So having expectations sometimes will rob you of happiness, because if you expect one thing to happen and if it doesn't come true, then you're utterly disappointed. So managing expectations is super, super important. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into this expectation stuff, huh? I made a bunch of slides. Okay. Let me see if I can do all this. So, expectations you must let go of. So, in the book, this said that expectations you must let go of in your 20s, which is okay, but I think this applies to everybody because I'm in my 30s and this applies to my life as well. So, you need to thwart anxiety. Anxiety is one of the main driving forces that has kept you as well as our entire species alive. Struggling with crippling overabundance of it usually means you're not listening to it, or there's some major issue in your life you refuse to address or take action on. So anxiety is really, really important, and a lot of people believe that you need to just get rid of it. You need to just get rid of anxiety, get rid of it. Have no anxiety ever and you'll be happy and you'll be fine. But anxiety is really important. Anxiety and nervousness are close neighbors, if not the one and the same. They live in the same neighborhood and they keep you alive. Literally, they keep you alive. And this could even go into further. They actually put in this book that I kept out because I kind of didn't know how to think about it, but it originally was anxiety and negative thinking are pesky irritants you just have to learn to thwart, and that's not something that you need to do. The power of negative thinking is that it shows us what matters and how we need to respond to our lives. So I thought that was interesting. Again, everything in this book I don't really agree one-to-one with, but I do really... the idea that anxiety is not something you need to thwart, but you need to learn how to get through and manage and live with and have a healthy relationship with, I think is a better perspective than something that you just need to get rid of. All right, let's go into the next one. Certainty. All right, certainty. Expectations you must let go of. Life will work out how you plan. Breakups are meant to be. Job losses and hurt feelings and disappointments too. They happen often and are pivotal redirects. It will never exist the way you think it should, and in the meantime, it will only ensure that you waste what you do have in the moment. There's only one certain destination here at the end. So I think that's really important to just kind of analyze that life will never work out how you plan it. 100%. It's just like whatever you plan in life most likely won't come true one-to-one, and you got to learn how to be fluid with that and adjust to your expectations in life not being fulfilled all the way. Breakups are a good example. It's like in my case, I thought I was going to be with my ex-girlfriend forever. Never thought that anything else could happen, and that's not the case today. But guess what? It brought me to who I am right now, and I am very proud of that, and I'm proud of all the things that went away in that instance, including getting sober. That would have not happened if I was still in that relationship. Not blaming the relationship for my addiction, but I'm just saying the instances in my life and the events in my life led me to the point I'm at right now. So I think that's really cool. Life will never work out how you plan. All right, emotional intelligence. Expectations you must let go of. Emotional intelligence is infallible composure. Self-esteem is believing you are always good. Happiness is a product of not having problems. So, things that we're kind of taught when we're growing up to believe in, like that self-esteem is like, oh, that person has great self-esteem. They're always happy, and it's like that's not really the case. And that's definitely an expectation of your own self-esteem that's very detrimental to have, in my opinion, because you're not going to be happy all the time. That is impossible. Nobody is happy all the time. And if you were happy all the time, I would say that there's something fucking wrong with you. You're like a golden retriever that's really has the intelligence of a dog. Like, as human beings, we're not hardwired to always just bathed in happiness. There's so many other emotions that we're supposed to go through that are important to our lives in some way, shape, and form. Thank you, everybody, for the donation. Sorry, I'm not like really paying attention to the chat right now. I'm kind of just riddling off this info, but I appreciate it. Kevin Gardner and Assad and Jordan Smith. Appreciate it. Also, congrats on your 90 days on Sunday. That's incredible. But I think the expectation of emotional intelligence, being infallible, composure is also something that is very important to let go of. People that have high emotional intelligence do allow themselves to not always be composed. That is part of being emotionally intelligent, is learning to listen to your feelings and get through them and lean into them, not just back off of them. Somebody who has infallible composure most likely has horrible emotional intelligence and is super, super low level and not tapping into any of their emotions. That also goes to happiness is a product of not having problems. So that's not true either. And that's something that we're definitely trained to think growing up, and that's a good thing to let go of. All right, the next one. Hard work equals success. This is a good expectation to let go of because it's completely not true, and it's a very bad one to get behind. If you're expecting one certain goal at the end of something, then you're more than likely you're going to be disappointed. You need to have an open mind to things and definitely learn that one thing has to happen is not a good mindset to have with anything in life. The point of hard work is to recognize the person it makes you, not what it gets you. The former you can control, the latter you cannot. So you can't control what any hard work is going to get you. No matter what, things can happen. This COVID situation can come and just take away your job, take away your vacations, take away your time with your family. You cannot predict anything in life. The point of hard work is to recognize the person it makes you, is to learn from that and enrich yourself with the hard work, not really do hard work because of a set outcome externally. It's more about internally. All right. Boom. Love within. All right. Love, Jesus Christ. Love is something other people give you, so that's a good expectation to let go of, because love is definitely something that other people can feel, but they don't give you love. People cannot transmute emotions. How much are we consumed with the concept of trying to get others to love you? That's like our entire existence today in society, from everything, from getting up and posting on, even me, posting on Twitter. I post this stuff on Twitter to get traction and to get other people to, in some way, shape, or form, like it and spread that knowledge around and feel good about themselves. But a small bit of it is for self-interest and for me to feel good about myself. So we're super consumed with trying to get other people to love you, from even communicating with people to getting in a relationship. Our entire existence sometimes is really consumed with that factor. Even validation from other people is so embedded in us today. When others love us, we allow ourselves to love us. So that's an important thing, because really what people are doing when sometimes when they think that, oh, like, I'm finally getting love from this other person, but really what you're doing is you're finally allowing yourself to love you, and you're granting it by another person. And sometimes that's not really good. It's much better to know yourself and allow yourself to practice self-love than to only think it comes externally. If you think love exists anywhere besides within, you won't ever have it. It won't ever come, because love exists with you first. That's where love is in your own self. All right, let's get into the next one. Needs. Focusing solely on your own needs will make you the happiest. So that's a very, very good expectation to let go of. And I think that's why this author put people in their 20s need to let go of that, because I definitely think that's a young person's mindset, is like, well, I'm just going to do me and not care about anybody else in the world. Self-sufficiency is just a precursor to happiness. It is the foundation. It is crucial, but is not the connectedness of which human beings thrive. Committing, sacrificing, trying and trying again for the people you love and the things you believe in are what makes a life feel worthwhile. I completely agree with that. I mean, definitely if like you are spending all your time just consuming and not doing anything for anybody else but yourself, sure, that's all right. But I would be willing to bet that there's a small part of you that does not feel fulfilled. And that when you're living for other people to a small degree, when you have people that that are around you, when you're doing stuff for them, for your family, for your close friends, for a person in your relationship, if you're doing something that's a noble cause work-wise, that definitely is 1,000 times more fulfilling and will make you a lot more happy than just literally just like hanging out and drinking beer. All right, let's get into this. 2 more. Pain. This is a good one. You can outsmart pain. That's a very good expectation to let go of. I feel like a lot of people think that, oh, I just like won't do that because then I'll feel bad, you know, like or like I'm gonna always be ahead of pain. Pain will never catch up to me. I won't ever feel pain. I won't ever be vulnerable enough to feel pain. You cannot think your way out of pain. You cannot predict it or avoid it or pretend you don't feel it. Doing so is living a fraction of the life you were meant to, and it will make you a fraction of the person you're supposed to be. Pain builds you like nothing else. Pain is the best sculpting tool that life will ever give you. You'll never grow more than going through a painful experience, than losing somebody you really love, than losing a job, than even getting injured will teach you something really good about yourself. Like pain will teach you the most that you ever will get from any of life lessons, I feel. I feel that's a really good expectation to let go of, because I feel like a lot of people just think, oh, I shouldn't feel pain ever. I need to be happy all the time, because of course it's comfortable to be happy all the time, and pain isn't fun. Pain sucks. It's really horrible to go through, but it's so enriching, and it's 100% natural part of our lives, so we need to experience. All right, the last one. All right, expectations you must let go of. If you work on yourself, you won't struggle anymore. So I posted this on Twitter because I really love this quote. You must let go of the expectation that if you work on yourself, you won't struggle anymore. The true thing is if you work on yourself enough, you'll understand what the struggle is for. You know what's even doper about that is that's a bar, dog. Any more and is for it rhymes. Let's go. Battle rapping up in this bitch. But yeah. Super fire. I love that a lot because I think the concept of like, I know that when I personally talk to a lot of people, when people are like, how are you doing, Kyle? Like, you know, because they know of like what I've been going through. They know that I've been struggling with grief, heartbreak, and depression. Everybody wants to hear that I'm doing good. I'm just doing good. Oh, I'm doing so much better. I'm fine. But that's the thing is like, even though I am like really working on myself, you know, I've been going to therapy for 3 years. I've been doing so much to enrich who I am as a person. I got sober from multiple addictions. That doesn't mean that I don't still struggle every day, and that there isn't still waves of depression every day, and that there isn't still highs and lows. That's natural in life. You're going to go through those, and doing those is human, and that makes me feel connected to who I am. Feeling those depression when that hits and going through it, leaning into it, letting it wash over me and just passing over me makes me feel alive. And yeah, I think that's a great just thought that if you work on yourself enough, you'll understand what the struggle is for, because it will unearth your true values in yourself as a human being. So yeah, that's a couple cool, I thought, expectations to let go of. They have a couple other ones in here that I thought they're cool, but they're kind of like a little bit I don't want to say negative, but something just a little bleak. Your faults are forgivable and your attributes are more exceptional. So people saying that your faults are forgivable and your attributes are more exceptional when you're in your 20s. I think that applies to young people. Believing that you're less responsible for your misgivings and that you're more exceptionally skilled at your strengths is the mindset to which many people default. It is ultimately just keeps you small. If you don't acknowledge the magnitude of the poor choices you've made, you're bound to justify doing them again. If you live and act as though you can slide by because you're ever so slightly better than everyone else, you'll never actually try. So there's some cool stuff in there too that I didn't really make slides, but once again, this book is really, really good. Let me get the regular setup back. This book is really incredible. I highly suggest it. 101 essays that will change the way you think, Brianna Wiest. It's incredible. It's pretty long too. I've been reading it every day, and I'm only on page 76. And yeah, go get it. I forgot where I got it from. I got it from Thought Catalog Books. So maybe that's it, Thought Catalog Books. But I bought it from some like boutique because support small businesses. But yeah, that's just a little conversation on expectations and how to manage them. I thought I would try out like to do more kind of work like that in these ruining hours, and make slides and stuff. And then for the last half an hour, we can just address the chat and see what you guys want to talk about. So how is everybody doing? Jive Turkey. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're here. You can catch the Shoddy and Math round for round on patreon.com/ruin your day now. But yeah, 101 essays that will change the way you think. Really fire book. Highly suggest it. I got some more books coming on the way. Hopefully they'll get here in time so I can read some more stuff. But yeah. Always good literature. Always good stuff. But yeah, does anybody want to discuss anything? Sobriety, how the quarantine's treating anybody? Anybody going through anything they want to talk about? Didn't get enough sleep. Did you wake up early again? I definitely say that this is all about the egocentrism that develops during your teens, and people struggle with that through their 20s. That's very true, Lucas. That's very, very true. The ego is... why do you think people develop such big egos at a young age? What do you think the reason for that is? Is it to protect themselves? Is it because is it to like a knee-jerk reaction to being fearful of what they aren't? I definitely still struggle with ego, that's for sure. I can recognize that I have some sort of an ego. I think everybody does. Amy, for someone who only reads a few pages per day, you sure blow through a lot of books. Amy, you got the book I suggested, that Get Out of Your Own Way. The font is like 55 on that book. It's like literally a children's book, and it's colorful. For my little mind, I'm like, big buttons. But yeah, I read a lot. Like, I really don't do anything else besides do battle rap, work out, read, and listen to music. That's my life right there, guys, in a nutshell. But I don't watch TV anymore. I used to watch YouTube a lot. I kind of do that still, but mostly at night after I do round for round, I make dinner and I try to read as much as I can until, like, I've been staying up really late recently. That's not good. I've been staying up until like 2 or 3 in the morning just reading. And it's bad because I wake up at 9. Have you ever read The 4 Agreements? I haven't, Ryan. What's it about? It's part of psychological development. Yeah, but why? What's the reason behind it? What does it mean? Assad, Avo, you seem like a pretty laid-back guy. Any advice on how to brush things off your shoulder? I find myself being confrontational with people who come at me even in the slightest way. Thank you, Assad. I appreciate the compliment. I don't consider myself that way. I do struggle with brushing things off. I struggled with it a lot more. I feel mad irritable. I also resonate with that. That resonates with me too, Assad. I have a very, very bad issue with being irritable, and I have a big temper, and it's something that I learned from a very early age. Something that I still struggle with today. Not getting angry at something so small and silly and like really insignificant. I think the best advice I can give you is to, when you feel like doing something that's a knee-jerk reaction to something, like somebody says something to you and it offends you and you want to like hit them back with something offensive or like one-up them or something like that, just think for like 2 seconds and do the opposite of what you want to do. And that's always worked out for me. It's like when somebody like, kind of hurts me and I kind of want to like stand up with myself in a confrontational way that isn't going to help the situation, because I do believe that they're like standing up for yourself is sometimes not the best option. You can just walk away or actually try to empathize with the person you're talking to. Maybe there's a reason why they're angry. So having empathy and really just stopping and sitting with your thoughts is the best advice I can give. But I will say that I struggle with that too, man, and I need advice on that constantly as well. So I think ego can somewhat be explained by the Dunning-Kruger effect. What's that, Jay? School me, bro. Julian, being 18 or 19, man, I am blind. I can say that the ego thing for me comes from trying not to be what I dislike the most about myself and people I've seen around me. If I tell myself I'm better, then I try to stay better. Julian, yeah, that's what I think. Like, I've definitely, like, experienced a lot of young people with, like, massive egos recently, and I definitely had an ego growing up. I had a humongous complex growing up and a big ego, and that's definitely because I was scared, and I didn't know who I was, and I was building an ego as a sense of armor, a sense of strength. Also, that's what anger does, like pumps you up and like gives you this like this invisible armor, invisible strength that doesn't always work out. It always drops you off lower than what you expected. So the opposite, I mean, I don't know if the opposite of ego is being vulnerable, but I guess they could live in the same realm. But vulnerability gives you so much more growth than having an ego does. It's just so much more healthy. Yeah, exactly, Jordan. There's a space between thought and action. Exactly. Love that quote. Commencement speech that touches on a bunch of stuff that touches on ego a little bit. Hell yeah, Ben. Would you say that people watching this channel all the time help you with your sobriety? To a degree. I mean, I definitely think like this show holds me accountable in some way, shape, or form. Like I think if I ever, I mean, like this will never happen, but if I did start drinking, I would definitely think of like the people on here that I would be disappointing. And I definitely think that I have some sort of responsibility with the show to a degree that I can't let people down with something like that. So, to a degree, it does. But the main thing that helps me with sobriety is me. I'm the thing that helps me with sobriety, and that's why I've been sober for almost 2 years now. And I'm never tempted to drink, ever. There's never a time that I'm like, you know, that would be nice. That'd be nice to drink, because there's so many other things that I enjoy now in my life more than drinking that I do every day that are 1,000 times more healthy. So it's just like the vice isn't there anymore. It's like I'm like literally the vice just ain't there. It ain't calling. There are other vices that I have that I definitely need to work through, but that is the biggest one that I've like taken out. 4 Agreements is pretty great. Talks about a lot of things you cover. Really goes into trying to understand someone when they come at you with a conflict. I'll recommend it. Dope. I'll read it. 4 Agreements. That's cool. If you could give only one piece of advice to help stop being addicted to something, what would you say? Whew, I mean, that's big. I mean, I would definitely say the biggest advice is to understand why you're addicted to something is because you're struggling with being uncomfortable. And that's, for most people, that's the reason why they're addicted to anything. And the biggest piece of actual advice I would give is that take it one day at a time, and be kind to yourself. When you relapse, or if you do relapse, that's part of recovery. It's probably going to happen. You need to really just be kind to yourself, be patient, treat yourself how you would treat a best friend going through the same thing. Don't be hard on yourself if anything happens. Just learn to really take it one day at a time, because recovering from addiction is one of the hardest things anybody will do, ever. It's so insanely difficult, but yet we somehow think that everybody has it easy because everybody else isn't addicted. But everybody's case is unique. Everybody that struggles with depression, that is unique to them. That's not because they're weak. It's because they suffer from depression, and that's who they are. People that suffer with addiction, it's not because they're weak. It's because they're addicts. They're just different people. And you got to just be kind to yourself, and you can get through it. You just got to take it a day at a time. Yep, Lucas, falling off the wagon happens 100%. It totally happens. You just got to get back up and do it again. Literally, that will happen with anything in life. Failure, giving up, that will happen. And then you can't, like, when you fail, you can't just be like, well, I fucked up forever. I'm never going to do that again. I guess I'm not going to try, because then you wouldn't accomplish shit. We wouldn't even be walking or talking. We were babies and we fell, and we're just like, I'm just going to lay on this floor until my mom, kills me. Like, you know, you have to keep trying at whatever you're doing in life to persevere. And getting through addiction is no different. Even though it's hard, everything is hard. There's actually a quote in this book about that I really fucked with, about how everything's hard work. Let's see if I circled it. Maybe I didn't. But yeah, it's something about how everything is hard. But yeah, anything worth doing is hard work, essentially. Long story short. Mental Mickey, last time I relapsed, I took a selfie, like right after relapse, and if I ever get a feeling, I pull out the post-relapse selfie and stare at it. Been on my longest streak since. Mental Mickey, that's incredible. That's huge. That's really big. And that's definitely in line with what I do. I definitely feel like if I would ever get tempted to drink or do anything, I just like think about how it would really feel to be drunk. And I'm like, meh, probably wouldn't feel good, honestly. Like, I don't even know really like how I really liked being drunk so much. Like how I just constantly like to just not be here. It's really a weird thought now that I sit on the other side of it, that I'm like, wow, I just wanted to disconnect all the time and just be free from the uncomfortability that I was with me as a person, of all the fucking terrible shit I was doing, like cheating on my girlfriend, doing porn behind her back, like all the fucking horrible shit. And I just wanted to get drunk all the time to fucking ignore it, to be like, yeah, whatever, I'm a fucking drunk, I'm a piece of shit, and waddle in the glory of being a scumbag. And now when I sit back on it, I'm just like, whoa, fuck, I don't want any of that. I don't want none of that. The slightest. I can feel you on that, Avo. In the same way I stopped drinking everything but water about 3 years ago. Many people ask how I ever don't want juice or anything, and I just don't have the urge. Julian, guess what? I'm the same fucking way, bro. Water gang all day. I don't drink shit but water. I don't know, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with juice. There's nothing wrong with drinking anything else, but personally, me, I just feel like water's the best, and I love water. 5 rules for relapse prevention: change your life, be completely honest, ask for help, practice self-care, don't bend the rules. Ooh, Jordan Smith, those are good. Those are fire. I love that. Yeah, but this time I literally can't walk again. Lucas, what do you mean you can't walk? Oh, when you relapsed? Is that what you're talking about? Wear a helmet. That's right, Amy. I don't think that it's the most people like to be drunk so much as that they disconnect and not deal with it's easier. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the whole point, is that it's easy to get drunk. It's super easy. It's the easiest thing in the fucking world. You literally just drink. You just consume, like, if this was vodka, and I'm like, well, if I just chug this for 2 seconds, I'll just not feel like I'm here anymore. It'll disconnect with my thoughts, and I won't feel anything. I've been watching a lot of this guy Wes Watson recently, and this fool is like extremely aggressive. He's an ex-convict, but I love him, and I watched a video on here the other day, and he's like this big buff white dude with a bunch of prison tattoos, probably like did a bunch of terrible stuff in prison, and he's very extreme, but he will motivate you 10 times. Like, you know, he constantly says stuff like that because in prison people do a lot of heroin to escape the grim nature of being locked up forever, and he always refers to that as bitch shit. And I think I always laugh because he's so vulgar and really extreme and slightly misogynistic, but in a way he's really right. Is that is the easy way out. Not saying they're weak, but they're tapping into a path that's the low-hanging fruit. So, yeah, I mean, it is easy to disconnect with being drunk, for sure. I actually said that to my therapist a couple weeks ago. I knew when I was choosing to drink as an avid non-drinker before then, it was the easiest, quickest way to just turn off. For sure, it definitely is. It's accessible, and it's very normalized in our culture. It's not like it's evil, but it's very easy to be abusive of that. And if you're a person like me that can't have a healthy relationship with something as easy as alcohol and as socially accepted as alcohol, then it's very dangerous. What was your thought process when you admitted to yourself that you were an addict? It was honestly just me being honest with myself finally for the first time. Like, I knew I was an addict. I've known I was an alcoholic for extremely long. I just didn't admit it because it's hard. And I knew that I had a sex addiction for like probably even way longer than that, to be honest with you guys. I just didn't admit that because that doesn't make you feel good, you know? I felt like uncomfortable and like less of a person admitting that. But now I don't feel any of those things at all. That's just who I am. And it's something that I struggle to get through, unique to me. And I need to take steps to get through those things. And it's just having a better understanding of who I am as a human being and tapping into those understanding pathways is a huge sign of strength. And once I started to realize that, that's actually a sign of strength, that vulnerability is the greatest armor you could ever have in your life. And it's the not armor, but the greatest like weights you can lift theoretically for your life health. It's gonna make you stronger than anything, being vulnerable. It's gonna be extremely uncomfortable, but just like weights, you know, it's not like when I run outside, I'm comfortable, like breathing all heavy, like sweating. It's not like I'm like, God damn, I feel like I'm in heaven right now. I love this, you know. David Goggins says this all the time, and this fool will run hundreds of miles in a day. He says running sucks. I hate it, but I get through it. So that's kind of what, you know, being vulnerable is like. Like it doesn't really feel good sometimes. It's uncomfortable, but once afterwards, it's the greatest feeling in the world. What's your biggest accomplishment and your biggest still standing hurdle right now as it applies to this channel, your last 2 years, sobriety, depression, all? My biggest accomplishment? Fuck, I don't know. That's a really big question. I would say I don't know. I guess like just my overall perspective, I think, is an accomplishment where I'm at today, and the path that I set down is an accomplishment in my opinion. Ironically enough, that path is still the biggest struggle I have, because that path brings with it a lot of grief, and grief, I think, is the biggest thing that I struggle with today. Grief and self-love are two things that I really struggle with. Practice them a lot, but it's not always easy, you know? It's definitely not easy. So yeah. Completely off topic, if you don't mind, how old are you? I am 35. 35 years old. I'm going to be 36 this year. An old man. But I look like I'm 22, am I right? No, I'm kidding. Do you believe you're always an addict, but you can change into a healthier addiction, like jumping into work instead of drink? Dive into a healthier addiction. I don't believe that people are addicts always. I believe addiction is a learned behavior. I don't think addiction necessarily is just a chemical makeup of who I am. I think I learned to be an alcoholic. I think I learned to be a sex addict. I think I learned to be a work addict. Just like you said, people do definitely usually go from one addiction to the next. Like, you know, I definitely went from having a work addiction to ignore grief, then to becoming an alcoholic, then to becoming a sex addict under all of that kind of. Right now, I don't really feel like I deal with too much of an addiction. Maybe work to a degree. Work is kind of a rough one because it's like I'm very passionate about what I do and I really love what I do, and it brings me a great sense of joy and happiness, and I think it's a very good thing to my health and the world, but there is something to be said about me working constantly, and that's not healthy. But I think you can learn to manage your addictions for sure. I don't know if it's possible to like be like, I'm not addicted anymore ever, you know, because it's like, I definitely think that if I started drinking again, that I would eventually get back to where I was, because it's just repeating the same pattern. Even though I'm a new person now, I think that addiction, my therapist described it to me as this boulder on the top of a hill. And basically, when you're sober, the boulder's on the top of the hill, And each time you do what's called acting in your inner circle, because there's all these circles of like, your inner circle is direct addictive behavior. So for me, it's like drinking, shooting porn, sleeping with like tons of people, working until I don't fucking know who I am, and ignoring everybody I care about and love, and just being a piece of shit. And then my outer circle is engaging in activities that are healthy and that don't involve any of that, like healthily working on battle rap, doing this show, exercising, reading, stuff like that. And each time you do things that are kind of towards your inner circle, it kind of pushes the boulder over a little bit until the boulder starts kind of rolling down the hill. And once the boulder has momentum and it's rolling down the hill, it's so hard to stop. And the more momentum it builds, it's harder and harder and harder to stop. And then eventually you'll hit rock bottom, and it will be at the bottom. And getting the boulder up to the top of the hill is insanely hard, but the whole point is to not give the boulder that momentum. To not be like, oh, I'm an alcoholic, but I could like drink wine because wine ain't that bad, you know, or I could drink like I'm getting drunk like once a week, like big deal, it's the weekend, everybody drinks. Or like if I'm a sex addict, big deal, everybody sleeps with a bunch of different people. Or big deal, everybody cheats. Like having a side bitch is like normalized now, like cheating is normalized, like all that stuff, like, you know, like definitely like justifying the bad behavior gives that boulder momentum. So yeah, I think it's definitely possible to learn how to have a healthy relationship with your addictions and not divulge in them. My birthday is November 13th. I'm a Scorpio. What do you practice self-love? Not a joke, by the way. What ways do I practice self-love? I practice gratitude every single day. I am grateful for a couple things. I always say that I'm grateful that me and my ex broke up. I talk about this a lot on the show because it's a very important thing to me. But I'm very grateful that we broke up because we're both on healthy paths now, and that wouldn't have been possible if we were still in the same toxic relationship. And I'm very happy that she's a lot happier without me. And I'm very happy that I've found this new path for who I am. I'm very, very grateful for battle rap and the career I have. I'm very aware that there's a lot of people that go to sleep wishing they had what I had. That there's a lot of people that go to sleep wishing that they did what they loved for a living. And that to be honest, man, I'm spoiled. I'm like blatantly spoiled. And I know it, and I am so thankful for every single one of you guys out there that always does everything they do to make me feel good and make me feel like I'm appreciated. Even though I'm doing this for a living, you still make me feel like I'm somehow like gifting you guys by doing all this. And I really, really appreciate that. I would never say anything otherwise. And I am grateful for what I do for a living every day. Every single day I'm working on something, I'm like, man, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed that I do what I love for a living every day. I have my own brand. I'm my own boss. I don't hurt anybody doing it. I'm not like managing a bunch of people and like fucking people over. I actually do good in the world. I've ruined an hour. People hit me up for advice on like sobriety. That means the world to me when I can talk to people and feel like I'm making a difference. Just practicing self-love is practicing gratitude. And also practicing self-love is also being good to you. So, for example, drinking this water, drinking a gallon of water a day, eating healthy foods, not bad foods, not eating like shit just because it tastes good, eating stuff that's good for my body, exercising, walking in the sun, feeling the fucking, like I was literally, when I was walking back from my run today, I was looking at the sky and how blue the sky was and this palm tree against the blue sky, and just feeling so lucky that I live in LA and that I'm working still and I have a job, you know, I have my own company kind of still, and that I'm so blessed to be able to just run 3 miles to the beach and back a day and look at the sky and there's not a cloud in the sky. It's like, man, what more could I ask for in life? It's the ways I practice gratitude. So glad you said gratitude, so important. It's one of those things that you can do even if you don't feel like you're being genuine. And if you keep on it becomes a habit, and it internalizes and becomes real. 100%, Amy. Totally agree with that. A lot of people I know have been really focusing on practicing gratitude, and just like you said, if you do it over and over again, it becomes habitual, and you'll start really buying into it, even if you didn't in the first place. How much were you drinking per day before you went clean? Were you getting drunk each night, or just enough to feel normal? Jack, I was drinking a lot. Like, I would probably drink every day. I wouldn't get drunk every day, but like if I was to go out to lunch during work, I would have a margarita or two, and that would get me fucking lit, like buzzed. And then when I was on watch, I would drink a lot. I would get drunk, and I would drive home drunk pretty often. And yeah, it was just not good. I wasn't drinking like so much to where my health would be impeded when I stopped. But I was drinking a lot to where everybody knew, they associated me with drinking. And that's horrible. But yeah, everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that, man. Hey, Ryan, and also keep up the streams, bro. I really enjoy those. And I watched the Dark Side of the Ring, the Owen Hart one last night, and that was really heartbreaking. It was extremely heartbreaking. That Dark Side of the Ring is absolute fire. Like, the production alone, I love the aesthetic of it, the 80s synth sounds, the B-roll they did for the dramatic, the reenactments are done so classy. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of wrestling. I was into it during the Owen Hart and like Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan days when I was a kid, but I love that show. That show is just phenomenal. Hats off to the creators. When is Briz going to come back? Hopefully soon. Why haven't you released any more watches lately like the old ones? Dante, because Round for Round has really been killing me, dude. I release 1, if not 2 videos a day and go live 1, if not twice a day. It's a lot. And I'm the only one doing shit. I don't have another editor. I don't have anybody else helping me with video work. I host, edit, film these shows all alone. So it's a lot of work, man. But those watches will come out soon, eventually, after Round for Round ends. Joseph, all I used to do was incline, bro. I love incline. Phil, appreciate the donation. Respect. All 3 of y'all. Expectations is a crazy topic. My marriage taught me that the bad way. Yeah, man. Relationships will definitely teach you that. Is there a specific time Round for Round drops? Well, we go live right now, usually every day at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I premiere them in the mornings. So anytime between like 9 to 11 a.m. is when I premiere them. But yeah, everybody. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Stay safe, everybody. Also, if you guys have kids' clothes, go to lalaling.com to purchase some kids' clothes. I'm trying to get my friend's business to survive during this crazy time, during this wild time, excuse me. But love y'all. I'll see you guys in like 15 minutes for Round. We're doing Disaster versus Pass. All right, peace out.